adding 2-digit numbers. This is the last lesson in our unit. So by the end of this lesson, these are learning objectives. So I will read it first and then we can read it all together. So the first one, I will be able to add 2-digit numbers using a number bond model and place value notation. We can read that one all together.
I will be able to add 2-digit numbers using a number bond model and place value notation.
Okay, great job. Now I'm going to read the second one. I will use 2-digit and 1-digit numbers to break apart numbers in order to add tens with tens and ones with ones, sometimes making a new 10. Now we're going to read that one all together.
I will use 2-digit and 1-digit numbers to break apart numbers in order to add tens with tens and ones with ones, sometimes making a new 10.
Right. So first, before we move into our lesson, we're going to connect to our prior knowledge. So what we've already been learning. So first, I want you guys to use the base 10 blocks at your table. So hold up the base 10 blocks. Macy's got it. Alright, so you guys are going to use the base 10 blocks at your table to find 35 plus 7. So 35 plus 7.
Okay. 35 plus 35 plus 7. Okay, well, we're going to turn this into our solving.
Are we supposed to be solving it or just showing you 35
Yes,
and
solving
7?
it.
Okay.
So we need, here's 5.
Woo! We got it, teacher.
Good job. So what's your answer?
42.
What's your answer?
42.
Oh, okay. So, with a silent hand raised, somebody tell me how you got to 42. Haley.
We took 30, we did 30 of, we did 3 tens.
Yes.
And then we did 5 ones and then 7 ones. And then we made that into, that made 12. So then we made that into another 10 and then kept the other 2 ones.
Okay. So you started with 3 tens, 5 ones, and then your 7 ones. And then you took, you know that 10 ones makes 1 10, right? So you took these 5 and these 5, and you made that a 10. And then you had your 4 tens and 2 ones, which is
Yeah.
42. Alright, did you guys do something different or is that how you solved it? Awesome, perfect. So, we're going to be doing something very similar in our lesson today. The only difference is that it's 2 two-digit numbers.
Okay.
So I want you to think that. You know how to do this. If you can do this, you can add 2 two-digit numbers. So now we're going to move into our try it. So I want you guys to work on this all on your own. First, we are going to read our question and try to figure out what it is asking us. So we'll have all eyes up here. We're not going to be working on it just yet. You guys can watch. All right, so I'm going to read it first, and then we will read the question all together. So our question is, how many shells in all? Now I can read that all together.
How many shells
small. So what do you guys think that this problem is asking us to do? What are we trying to find?
Find all the shells.
Find all the shells, right? So we're trying to find the total number of shells. So you guys can use whatever strategies you want to figure out this problem. You have the base 10 blocks and the connecting cubes at your table. You can use number bonds. I didn't print out the 100 charts, but you guys would have 100 charts if you wanted to use that. And then you guys can solve this problem on your own.
I definitely need a eraser.
Alright, now what I want you guys to do is turn and talk with your shoulder partners. Talk about what strategy you used, how you got your answer. Some things to talk about: did you guys get the same answer? If so, did you use the same strategy? Things like that. But our pencils are going to be down because we're not changing anything on our papers. Even if you feel like you got the answer wrong, we're not changing anything on our papers. We're talking through it. All right.
Well, I did all the things and then added all these and got 12. So then I added another 10.
I love hearing the words tens and ones.
That's a lot easier than what I did. I started with 24, so 2 tens, 4 ones, and then 5. Don't mind this because I yeah. Okay. Anyways, and then 5 tens and 8 ones, and then I put my tens down first, and then I circled 10, and then turned it into 1, and just brought it down here, and then put those down, and then I checked my work this time. We did do the same thing, just the process a little bit. And I was gonna take mine and go under like you did on yours where you wrote 12, but then I realized I had circled the top 2 and I didn't have erasers.
All right. Now, can I have people asked to come up? Can you guys come up here? We're gonna look at your answers, how you guys got to your answer. So first, I'd like to start with Haley. Can you show us your answer or your strategy and explain it to us?
So I began with 24, and so I drew 2 10s and then 4 1s. And then I put a plus sign and put 5 10s and 8 1s. And then down here, I first added up the 10s, so I drew 7 10s. And then I added all the 1s together and got 12. And so I added another 10 and then my 2 1s and got 82.
So you added all your ones together. You got 12 ones. And so you knew that there's 1 10 and 12 ones, right? So you took that 10, added it here, you had 2 left. So that's how you did it. Now, a very similar strategy, but a little bit different way you did it.
So what I did was I wrote it out like she did, the 24 with 2 10s, 4 1s, and then the 58 with 5 10s and 8 1s. And I wrote my 10s down, so I had 7 10s, and then I circled 4 and then 6. So I just picked out 10 1s and turned that into a 10, and then I knew I had 2 left.
So you had just how she started it, but instead of adding all the ones together, you picked out 10.
Yes.
You turned that into a 10, and then you had
Yes.
2 ones
Yes.
left over. Right. So, do you guys think that, and like the way they did this was wrong? They both did it differently. Was one of them more right than the other? No, right? It was just 2 ways of getting to the answer. I noticed that everyone used this strategy, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we're gonna talk a little bit more about some other strategies that we can use. You guys can take a seat. We're gonna talk about some other strategies that we could use to get to our answer. Alright, so we're gonna move into model it, but I want you guys to not flip there in your books just yet. So we're gonna talk about it first, and then you guys can flip to it. So, you guys all used, again, like we know, the base 10 model to get to your answer. What is another way that we might be able to get to our answer? Did you think about some other strategies that you can use? What is this? We all know, everybody. A number bond. There you go. A number bond. So this is something that we can use to help us break apart our numbers, because 2-digit numbers can be a little bit tricky sometimes, right? It's more than just in the ones place. We're getting into the tens place. So breaking it apart first can help us solve the problem. So that's what we are going to do. So I have 24 here and 58 here. So if I want to break apart our numbers into tens and ones, what would be in this circle here for 24? 20. So if this is 20, then what's here? 4. So we have 20 tens, or 2 tens, and 4 ones. So 2 tens is 20. And then what about here? What would be here? 50, which is 5 tens, and then here? 8. So 8 ones. So now that we've broken apart our 2 main numbers, it makes it a little bit easier for us to solve it. So now we're going to use place value notation. So if I have, right here, this is 20, how many tens is that? 2 tens. And how many tens is 50? 5. And 5 tens. And then how many ones in 24? 4 ones. And how many ones in 58? 8. So now that I've written all of this out, so we kind of we're starting to form a little bit of an equation. We are going to add all of these numbers together. Okay. We're gonna add all of these numbers together. So if I have 5 tens and 2 tens, how many tens will I have? 7 tens. And somebody at this table, if I have 8 ones and 4 ones, how many ones will I have? It's okay. So I have 7 tens and 12 ones. Alright, now we have 12 ones. What is something that we can and should do with these 12 ones? Haley did it whenever she showed her strategy. Macy?
Break it apart into 1, 10, 2.
Yes, exactly. You get the black one. So you can break this apart into 1 10 and 2 ones. So we have 1 10 and 2 ones. And now that I have broken apart this number, I'm going to cross that out. So what should I do next? So we have 7 tens, 1 10, and 2 ones. How can I make this a little bit easier to solve?
Add the 1 10 to 7.
Yeah, so now we're going to add the 7 tens and the 1 10, which is how many tens?
8.
So 8 tens plus, and how many ones do we have left over?
2.
Plus 2 ones. And now, what we are going to do, you guys can now flip back to your Model-It. It's on the next page. And we're going to fill out the rest of this problem together. So, we already wrote this part, so remember, how many tens do we have now? 8. And how many ones?
2.
So 8 tens, 2 ones. And the next line says, so 24 plus 58 equals 82. So how do we know? How do we know that it's 82? Yes, exactly. Good job. So you guys can write 82. And then notice how they didn't just leave it at 82. What did they do? 82 what? Shells and all, because that's what we are trying to find. So 82 shells in all. 2 thumbs up if that made sense. Okay, awesome. All right. Now, I want you guys to think a little bit deeper about this problem. I want you to think, if we know we have our 2 numbers, we know that we're going to have to add these, right? How might you be able to know before you even start solving it? How would you know that you might need to regroup? Just by looking at our ones place. How might you know that you need to regroup? Alex?
If you're adding and the ones place on both sides, it is bigger than 5.
If it's bigger than 5?
Mm-hmm.
Why if it's bigger than 5?
Because 5 plus 5 is 10.
I can see that, yeah. So, but if we have 4 here, and we have, let's see, if we have 4 here and 8 here, so we see that this is less than 5, but this is 8, and we know that 8 plus 4 is what?
12.
Well, we need to regroup that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this isn't a 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be 2 5s, it's any number that makes 10 or more in our ones place. If it makes 10 or more. Because if it makes 10, then what is that? A 10, right? And so that's how you know that you might need to regroup. Can you guys give me an example of another problem with 2 two-digit numbers where we might need to regroup?
56 and 54.
56 and 54. So why would we need to regroup?
Because 6 and 4 add up to 10.
Yeah, because our ones place is 6 and 4 equals 10, right? And so that we would regroup that 10. How many ones would we have left over? 0, right? And that's okay. All right. Now, let's see. Now we are going to move on to our connected. So you guys can flip over to your next pages to the connected. And I want you guys, we will read the question together, and I want you guys to take a minute and answer it on your own in one sentence. And then we will come together as a class and discuss it. So, our first question, how is your way like model it? How is it different? So you can flip back in your book to the model it to see, to remind you on that strategy. And then go back to try it. And what strategy did you use? So how are the two strategies similar and how are they different? So you can write this in one sentence. One or two sentences. And then once you're done with number 1, you can put your pencils down so I know you're finished. All right, now can I have somebody volunteer to share what they wrote? Yes.
For a way that is alike, I said I used pictures that showed the breaking of numbers down, like the number bond did.
Yes.
But for different, I didn't use number bonds.
Yeah. Somebody over here. Yes.
I said that I had to regroup, and then I used Tim's frame instead of the number bonds.
Haley, what about you?
I said that both models show regrouping by adding the 1s to 12. And then I didn't use I used an illustration and the model did.
Okay. Yes. Alex?
I said that both ways connect the 10s with 10s and the 1s with 1s.
Okay, yeah. So as we learned, you guys recognize that your strategies, there were some similarities, but they were also different. So, thumbs up or thumbs down. Were any of the strategies wrong? No, right? There are many different strategies that we can use, so ways to solve the problem, but it doesn't mean that they're wrong, right? Sometimes we just have different ways we like to do things. Some of us like pictures or visuals, some of us like equations, and that's okay. All right, number 2, you guys can follow along. I'm gonna read it. How is adding 24 plus 58 like adding 24 plus 8? So now we're kind of connecting to what we have been doing in past lessons. How is adding 24 and 58 like adding 24 plus 8? So you guys can answer in one sentence and then we will discuss it. And pencils down once you're finished. All right, what is, or with a hand raised, what did you guys say? How are they similar? Yeah.
Because we're still regrouping.
Yeah, we're still regrouping. What are we regrouping? The
To
ones,
make it
right? So the 4 and the 8 in both. You'll have to regroup that. Did anyone say anything different? No. Yeah. So you would have to regroup because, and how do we know just by looking at this problem? How do we know that we'll need to regroup?
The numbers and the ones add up to 10 or more.
Yeah. So it adds up to 10 or more. What does it add up to?
12.
12. Right. So we would regroup 1, 10. How many ones would we have left over? 2. Exactly. All right, now I want you guys to work on the apply it section on your own. Okay, so you guys will answer those questions. I will come around and I will help you if you need help. But I want you to try your very, very best to apply what you've learned and do it on your own. Then once you finish all 6 problems, you can come to me. I will check it, and then you can work on your additional practice. Probably won't do that. But.
So for 17, so we have our number bonds, right? So I see what you did, I understand how you did that. But whenever we're using our number bonds, we're breaking apart the number into 2 different parts. So if you look at this, if this is 1 and this is 7, that would mean that this would be 8, right? So what do you think this number needs to be? This is right there. Good job. Look at this. So you have 30 and 40. So you put a 7. I understand why you did that because we're thinking 7 tens. But if we add 30 plus 40, yeah, there you go. Did you do next choice yet? You done? Alright, let's check. Are you done?
Yes.
Alright, can you get off your phone in my class?
Yes, ma'am. I can. This is for first grade?
Yep.
They have a phone. Something is wrong.
Alright, so I want you to look here. You have 4 tens plus 1 10. What you wrote here is 50 tens.
Okay.
Do you think that's right?
Well, I have 50.
You have 50, and 50 is how many tens?
5.
So what should we put here instead of 50
5.
tens? There you go.
Okay. Maybe if I get off my phone, I would know.
Maybe. Huh?
So now I'm not so good at math. 7 times 9, 10. 4, 5, 6.
Oh, so you have 5 tens and 10 ones, right?
Yeah.
And we know.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Hello.
Alright, we
Okay,
look
got you.
at.
I'm struggling with the new math way thing. Don't get me. I can't. Even in class, she asked me. She was like, "Man, if you all were there. Like, what is 3 plus 3?" I'm like, 9. No. And I'm like, yes.
Okay, John.
Oh, hallelujah.
Also, after my smiley faces, you guys would have like started doing the additional practice. We need to. Okay, now we are going to talk a little bit about number 5. So go to number 5 in your connected. Number 5. And looking at number 5, I want to know why 80 plus 13 and 55 plus 38 both equal 93. So our question started with 55 plus 38. And then we kind of, after we broke apart our equation a little bit, we got 80 plus 13. And both of those equal 93. Both of them are correct. But why? Why are they both correct?
Because the tens and ones add up to the same number.
Yeah, they're tens and ones add up to the same number. Yeah. Yeah, so we're really what we're doing, we're breaking up the same numbers and then putting them together in different ways. Right? We still have the same amount, amount of numbers in our in both equations, but we get the same answer, just different ways of breaking apart the numbers. All right, now I want you guys to turn to the back of your papers on the very, very back, and we are going to do our exit ticket. You guys are going to do this completely on your own, so we're not helping each other. We're doing it silently. And this is a way for me to see if you guys really understand what we talked about today. And then that's everything.
Great job.
You did great. See you next time.